We are wrapping up this month of discussing the hips by going through a sequence of exercises for the hips. We're going to focus on really using a lot of the muscles around your hip joints to get to know them a little bit better and to exercise them a little bit and find out how they can help us in our balancing when we are on one leg. So you might need a chair, so please have a chair available just in case. Otherwise, we're going to get started. And the first thing that we're going to do is balance on your right foot. You can have your hands on the hips. And when you're balancing on the right foot, I want you to go through that process that we did a couple of weeks ago, where you're finding your weight onto the ball mound of the foot, the knee is soft, and your axis is really resting on top of your femur. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the tutorials from earlier this month to get into some of those details if you need to. All right, let's have your left leg just in front. And what I want you to explore is you're just going to imagine that you're keeping your knee in the same spot, but you're just wiggling your bottom of the foot back and forth. So I'm really thinking about the knee not really going anywhere. And I'm feeling my femur bone rotating inside the socket. So I might slow it down just so I can feel it. And with your hands, you can bring your hands to the thigh. This is external rotation, and this is internal rotation. External, internal. So just kind of let it go with a little bit more momentum. It will kind of rebound, and you can feel what your hip is capable of in this range. Then go ahead and change your weight. Let's go to your left side. You're going to bring your right foot in front, settle into your standing leg. Make sure the knee is soft and the weight is in the ball mound of your foot a little bit more. And then again, same thing here. You can just begin to move your femur inside the socket, rotating it. And just like we did on the other side, just so you can feel external rotation, internal, external, internal. So a few more times, you feel this kind of sensation. And then release. Now, instead of just going side to side, we're going to add in the front and back, which will create a circular shape. So watch here. Again, you're going to be on the right foot. Left knee is slightly bent. I go towards the inner part, and then I circle it forward. Side, notice the internal rotation there, and then it comes back to neutral to start over. So when I speed it up, it kind of looks like this. And let me back up a little bit. So once again, here we go. So notice the femur bone is going through that motion I just had. The only difference is I'm just letting the leg circle around rather than just going side to side. Go ahead and release, change weight. I'm going to show it from this side here. Find your balance, bend the knee, and here we go, circling around. I'm really not thinking about moving the foot here. This is kind of an interesting aspect of this movement is I don't think about the foot. Think about rotating inside your hip joint. That's what allows for the whole leg to move so easily. Good. And then release. So hopefully you already are feeling some work in the hips. Now, let's practice starting on the ground, going up and then coming back down. So hands on the hips, you're on the right leg, knees soft. Begin your circling like you're drawing with your big toe on the ground. Then begin to go up, and now you're doing it in the air. And then you begin to come down, and you come back to the ground. Good. And then change weight. Going to the other side, same thing, starting your circle on the ground like you're drawing with your big toe, and then we're going to go up. And then we're going to come down. Nice. Good. Now I want you to really feel how this exact same mechanic applies to when we draw big circles. So we're going to start small, we're going to go up, we're going to come back down, we're going to expand the circle to be bigger on the floor. You're going to feel that you're going to need to bend your standing leg a little bit more to increase the size of your circle on the ground. So let's begin. Your weight will be on your right foot. Left leg is going to be doing the movement. Standing leg nice and strong. Here we go. Circling on the ground. Then going up. Notice standing leg is nice and solid. Going back down. And then begin to expand the circle. And notice how I'm using my knee. And now the leg is going behind me a little bit more. And then I'm going to start making the circle a little bit smaller and smaller until I get back to where I started. Change weight. Same thing on this side. I'm on the left. You're on the left leg now. Right leg comes in front. Start the circling. Drawing the little circles on the ground. Then begin to go up. Keep moving the femur bone inside the socket. That's what you're focusing on in this rhythm inside your pelvis. Coming back to the ground and then begin to circle the leg bigger and bigger until you reach your fullest expression. Femur bone is going through all of those rotations. Standing leg is nice and soft to accommodate the length, and then begin to make the movements a little bit smaller until you end where you started. Good. Nice. And then release. One more time. You're on the right leg, circling. Really get that feeling. You're moving. The only thing you're moving is inside here, right? Not the foot. Then going up. Then coming down. And then make your circles bigger. And breathe with the movement. Use your standing knee. Begin to make your circles smaller and smaller until they come back to where they were. And change weight. Last time on this side. Small circles. Going up in the air. Coming back down. And then making them bigger. Bigger circles. Feel the same exact movement in the hips. And then we're going to go ahead and make them smaller and smaller until we come back where we started. Excellent. And we're release. Shake it out. All right. Now we're going to finish with just really pushing our limits in terms of the range of motion of the joint, just to explore what are the range of motion of our hips that we have available. So everybody will be a little bit different here. What we're going to need is a chair, just in case. Some of you might be able to do this without a chair, but it's nice to have it here. So let's actually begin. Let's begin with the chair, and then you'll have the option of not using it. You'll be on one foot. I'm on my left foot right now, so you can be on the same foot as me. Your right foot is going to be on the chair. Hands are going to be on the hips. We're going to lift the knee, the foot off the ground, and I'm using my inner thighs here to lift the leg so the leg is slightly turned out. Then I'm going to begin to turn it in as it goes to the side, and then I'm going to reach it back, and here's where my hands can come to the chair. Thigh is turned out. Good. Backtracking, bring the leg in. Now my inner thigh is facing the floor. And then from here, finding the balance, coming up and bring the foot to the chair. Okay? And switch sides. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to show you from the front just so that you can see the rotation of my leg a little bit better from this front. So notice my starting position, the thigh is slightly turned out. So, and very common when you're first starting here to kind of be in this position to start, and then you're lifting the leg and you're moving. Do you see how I'm off my femur bone here? And it's kind of like a very, very common thing to happen. So what do I do to get my axis back on top of my femur? I bend my standing leg. See how it then lands my axis just on top. Here we go. I'm going to lift the knee. So here I'm using my inner thighs. The femur bone is turned out. Good. And then I begin to turn it in. See how it begins to turn in? I'm going to reach it out to the side. Now the inner thigh is facing the floor. And I'm going to reach it back. Hands can come to the chair. And I'm still opening the hips. So my toes are pointing straight to the side if I were to flex my foot. Then I backtrack. I bring my hip to face the floor, find my balance, come up, and release. All right, so you can stick with the chair or you can do it without the chair. I'm going to show you without the chair, but please use it if you want. So let's begin. I'm going to stand on my left foot. Hands are on the hips. Standing leg, balance, then lift the right leg with the inner thighs. The moment you begin to shift, you begin to rotate the femur bone in, and now my femur bone is facing down. This is as high as it's going to go for me, and then I reach it behind me, and here I'm still turning my femur bone out. Then I bring it back, and I rotate it as I bring it back in. Release. Other side. We go up with the leg. Then shifting the weight forward a little bit. I'm on top of my femur. My weight is on the ball mount. Inner thigh of my left leg faces the floor. Then I reach back. And then I bring it forward and bring it forward and release. Lots and lots of work here. If you're sore tomorrow from doing this, you're welcome. Let's finish one more set together, and I'll be facing you this direction. So go ahead and be on your right foot. I'll mirror you. From here, hands on the hips. First thing we do is we lift the knee by using the inner thighs. Then from here, the moment I start going to the side, notice I both shift the pelvic position. I want my pelvis to be right on top of the femur, and then I rotate the thigh in so that now I'm really on top of that femur. Good. Then release the leg back, reach it back, keep opening the hip. The chest will realign forward, and then we backtrack. Ooh. Try not to knock over my flowers. And then forward and release. Last one. We lift, inner thigh working. Then shift on top. Here we go. And then reach back. Whoo. And then forward and forward and release. Good. Now, obviously, if you didn't go as high as me, that's totally fine. You can do this very low to the ground. It can be done in different degrees of exertion, so find what works for you. But as you noticed, all the muscles around the hips, especially in the standing leg, needed to really work to stabilize what's going on in your free leg, which is exactly what's happening when we're dancing. So I hope these exercises have been helpful. That concludes our exploration of the hips for this month. Next month, we are launching into discussing the lower back and the sacrum, so I hope you tune in for that. Until then, have a great week. And if you have anything to share, any questions or comments, please pop them in to the comments below. I love hearing from you. I will see you next week. Ciao.